Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all well. Sorry for the delay on getting this video out. It's been a slightly frantic weekend, and it was a frantic weekend of defending for Norwich City. You can see the stats on screen there. 28 shots to 4. 64% possession against 36. I mean, utterly dominant in the way of Coventry light blue. And somehow Norwich City have escaped with a point, and it was so nearly 3. It was quite close to being one of the best smash and grab performances of all time. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, but still, a point away from home, still unbeaten away from home in the Championship. That I will deem a success at the office for still a fresh and relatively new Norwich City under Liam Manning. It was an unchanged side. I still think that this is probably, at least at the start of the game, I thought it was probably our strongest 11. We'll get into a couple of the positions I think are probably up for grabs now. But Kovacevic in goal, it was Crescede, Medic, Darling and Fisher, Topic and McLean, Ante Cianat, Quistgarden, Diallo and Sargent. Now that, on paper, is a very good side. I think you've got a lot of attacking talent there. You've got Josh Sargent, obviously best player in the Championship, Matthias Quistgarden, who got on the score sheet, very well taken goal. I'm sure we'll get onto that shortly as well. Pape Amadou Diallo, we know what he's all about. I like that midfield duo of Mirko Topic and Kenny McLean. You've obviously got Jacob Wright now returning from suspension for the next Championship game. So things are starting to shape up. But I think ultimately the key of this video, there were lots to grumble about and potentially be concerned about, but I think there was also a lot to be very cheery about. Norwich now, away from home, are very difficult to beat. No matter the performance levels, we are gritty, we are determined, and I am going to celebrate that fact because for so long, certainly for the first five seasons, Norwich have been really easy to beat. Even when we've played well on paper, we have lost football matches time and time again. And that is no longer. Yes, the home performances haven't been ideal so far, but Pompey, Blackburn, and today against Coventry, you've got some good teams there, Coventry in particular, and Norwich City refused to lie down. Norwich City refused to get beat. And that is really pleasing. I thought it was definitely Jakov Medic's best game in a Norwich City shirt. I thought he was really impressive. And actually, there's probably a claim for maybe man of the match in there. I wouldn't say unconvinced, but I was there was a lot to improve on for Jakov Medic, basing off the first couple of performances, but he's really grown into it. And I think that goes to show what having a stable and consistent backline does for a defender. When they know who's next to them, when they know who's behind them, to the left, to the right, you start to build confidence. You start to build just muscle memory on movements and transitions. And for Jakov Medic, having Darling next to him, who just looks an unbelievable bit of business, I think that's really pleasing. I think Harry Darling, I know that ultimately it was his mistake that led to the really scrappy Coventry goal, but he was a man mountain once again. And I think we have to talk about, yes, Josh Sargent has been the one grabbing all the headlines this season, and rightly so. He's been fantastic. But you actually look at every single game this season, if it wasn't for Vladan Kovacevic, we would have probably lost every game this season. Huge performance at Portsmouth, huge performance at Blackburn, huge performance against Coventry, and obviously we've lost the home games, but he's been good in those as well. We have finally, it seems, found a keeper with real talent. Vladan Kovacevic has been marvellous, and once again pulling off a few big saves here at 1-0. 28 shots on goal. I think I said 26 earlier. 28 shots on goal is, well, worrying on one hand, but the fact that they've only managed to score one, I think they had an XG of about 4 point. Let me try and find it on my screen here. Yeah, an XG of nearly 4. and Kovacevic has only let in one, and that goal was ultimately nothing to do with him. If it was a Harry Darling clearance away from the most remarkable clean sheet. So that's pleasing, and I think that defence has been digging in. I think where we should maybe be, not concerned, but room for improvement is Norwich's kind of inability to create chances. And, you know, we see here 4 shots, 1 on target, we scored it. It was beautifully taken from Matthias Quistgarden, and I'm really pleased for him because, you know, there's been a couple of exciting cameos, but, you know, for £6 and a bit million, you're expecting for him to hit the ground running. And it was a really beautifully taken goal. I quite like that combination between him and Josh Sargent. Sargent maybe didn't have the influence and the touches on the game yesterday that we've become used to. It's the first game this season in which he hasn't scored, which is remarkable. But I do like how that kind of, you know, Sargent and Quistgarden combo is starting to take place. I think my concern, and I feel like we've got a big enough sample size now to take a look at it. Ante Ciernats, what's going on there? On the right wing, I think we all expected him to be playing slightly more central this season just because we thought Sarge would be leaving. That obviously hasn't happened. Ciernats has gone missing in so many games this season, and the concern, even more so I thought against Coventry, was in the games where he's gone missing, you know, offensively, he's been okay in terms of tracking back and helping out his right back. I thought he left Kellen Fisher woefully exposed yesterday, and Fisher struggled in that first half. It was a little bit better in the second half. But we need to see more from Ciernats. I'm not sure if it's a system thing. I think there's a good player in there. You know, I think when he gets in front of goal, he's got a finish on him. He's powerful. But on that right side, I mean, if you're Mate Jurisic now, you must be knocking on Manning's door and going, come on, you know, what does it take for me to get in this side? So I think with Mate Jurisic, he probably deserves his chance. The concern is obviously fitness, but we're going to have to get him stuck in the deep end at some point. I think on the left side, I love Papa Amadou Diallo, but maybe you need a slightly different alternative. I'm really gutted that we didn't maybe make more of an effort to go out and get Lewis Dobbin, because he's doing really well at Preston now, and I liked his kind of wing play. He was slightly more kind of coming inside, almost another striker, and his finishing ability was brilliant, but that's gone. But I think we do need another alternative out there, because Amadou Diallo is quite one-dimensional, and that's fine because he does that one thing very well, but maybe in a game like this you need something different. Ultimately, we've come away with a point away from home. I'm certainly not going to be grumbling about that. And I think Connor Southwell said it on his match review, that you know, in the Championship you just need to keep chipping away, just keep picking up points, keep the momentum going. And I agree. I think, you know, the best kind of champions in the Championship over the last few seasons, even under Daniel Farke, there weren't. That every game wasn't brilliant. There were certain games where performance levels dipped, but the great teams don't lose those games. And Coventry will be fuming they haven't picked up all 3 points here. But how often last season did we, play really well and not walk away with all 3 points, and sometimes lost a lot of times. So you can't have both. And I think Liam Manning is still trying to find how this team develops and looks. But on the whole, I think it's been an okay start. I think he'll want to see more from an attacking department. It's good that, you know, Quistgarden's chipped in with a goal here. Hopefully he'll back up Sargent nicely. And I look at that starting 11 and I think there's a lot of good things to come from it. That defensive line I've been really impressed with. I think you've got a good core in midfield with Topic and McLean, and you've got attacking talent. I can't really see a hugely weak link in there other than Ante Ciernats that we've discussed, but he's a confusing case because I think there is a good player in there. So ultimately, a good point away from home. The home form now needs to be looked at, and I'm sure with time we'll start to see some good performances. We've got a good opportunity now to try and pick up all 3 points when we play Wrexham this weekend. That will be a good game, and to see how that goes. But on the whole, I think we are moving in the right direction, and sometimes these scrappy away points are the most satisfying. It's weird to be kind of delighted with a point despite conceding in the 96th minute, but it could have been much worse. Let me know your thoughts, because I am feeling quite cheery, but I know that not everyone kind of reflects that opinion. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, and we'll see how that goes. thanks very much for watching. As I say, sorry for the delay on this video, and to help me out, why not click subscribe, hit the like button, and let me know what you thought down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye.